Fort Bragg, North Carolina, March 14th, 1970. Saturday morning, 10:30 in the morning. The weather is cool, overcast sky, temperature in the mid-50s. A light wind carries the smell of cut grass and diesel fuel across the training ground. This is one of the largest military installations in the United States, home to special forces, airborne divisions, Rangers, elite units that deploy to combat zones around the world. Soldiers who are trained to fight, trained to survive, trained to win. The training ground is a massive open field, flat, well-maintained grass, white lines marking boundaries for various drills. At one end, a raised wooden platform, temporary, built specifically for today's demonstration. 4 feet high, 20 feet square, large enough to move on. Visible from a distance, speakers mounted on metal poles at each corner. A microphone stand at the center. Behind the platform, a row of buildings. Barracks, administrative offices, training facilities. The architecture is functional. Military, no decoration, just purpose. In front of the platform, 1,000 soldiers stand in formation, perfect rows, perfect columns, uniform spacing. They are wearing standard fatigues, boots polished, hats straight. They stand at parade rest, hands clasped behind backs, feet shoulder-width apart, discipline radiating from every line. These are not recruits. These are active-duty soldiers, men who have been through basic training, advanced training. Some have combat experience. Some will deploy to Vietnam in the coming months. All of them are here because they were ordered to be here. The Army has invited Bruce Lee to Fort Bragg. The invitation came from the base commander, a general who saw Bruce's demonstration at a martial arts expo in California 6 months ago. The general was impressed. He wondered if Bruce's methods could supplement military hand-to-hand combat training, if there were principles that could enhance what soldiers already know. So he arranged this, a demonstration, a test, a chance for 1,000 soldiers to see what civilian martial arts offer. Bruce Lee stands on the platform, 30 years old, 5'7", 135 pounds. He is wearing simple black training pants and a black sleeveless shirt. No military uniform, no rank insignia, just functional clothing. He has been demonstrating for 20 minutes, showing principles, not forms, not choreography, just concepts that apply in real situations. He has explained interception, how to stop an attack before it develops, how to control an opponent's structure, how to strike without telegraphing intent, how to use minimal force for maximum effect. A volunteer from the formation stands on the platform with him, a sergeant, large man, 6 feet 2 inches, 220 pounds, trained in military combatives. The sergeant attacks. Full speed, real intent. Bruce intercepts, redirects, controls, makes it look effortless. The sergeant tries again, different angle, same result. Bruce's movements are minimal, economical, no wasted motion, no dramatic flourishes. Just simple, direct responses that neutralize the attack before it completes. The 1,000 soldiers watch in silence. Military discipline keeps them quiet, but their faces show reactions. Some are impressed, eyes wide, nodding slightly, recognizing skill when they see it. Some are skeptical, arms crossed, expressions doubtful. They have been trained to trust military doctrine, to follow proven methods. What Bruce is showing looks different, unfamiliar. Some are simply confused, trying to understand how what they are seeing relates to combat, to warfare, to survival. Bruce finishes his demonstration, bows to the volunteer sergeant. The sergeant bows back, returns to formation. Bruce turns to face the 1,000 soldiers, bows to them. The gesture is respectful, humble, no showmanship, no ego, just acknowledgement. He steps back from the microphone, walks to the edge of the platform. His part is finished, or so he thinks. A figure walks onto the platform from the side. Colonel Richard Miller, 45 years old, 6 feet tall, 190 pounds, lean, hard. The kind of physique built from years of military training and field operations. He wears full-dress uniform, ribbons on his chest, combat infantry badge, airborne wings, special forces tab, bronze star, purple heart. This is not a man who earned his rank behind a desk. This is a combat veteran. A leader who has seen war, who has trained men for war, who has lost men in war. Colonel Miller walks to the microphone, takes it from the stand. His movements are precise, military, every gesture deliberate. He looks out at the formation, at his soldiers, then at Bruce, then back at the formation. When he speaks, his voice is clear, authoritative. The voice of command. Thank you, Mr. Lee, for that demonstration. Very impressive, very theatrical. He pauses, lets the word theatrical hang in the air. But I want to be clear with my men. He turns to face the formation fully. What you just saw is martial arts, sport techniques, performance. These methods are designed for controlled environments, for tournaments, for demonstrations, for movies. Another pause. On the battlefield, these methods won't keep you alive. The enemy doesn't follow rules, doesn't bow before attacking, doesn't give you time to intercept or redirect. In combat, you have seconds, maybe less. Military combatives are designed for that reality, for war, for survival, for killing when necessary. The training ground is completely silent. 1,000 soldiers absorbing their colonel's words. Bruce stands at the edge of the platform. His face shows nothing. No anger, no defensiveness, just calm attention. Colonel Miller continues. I've seen combat. 2 tours in Vietnam. I've trained hundreds of men who deployed to combat zones. Some of them didn't come back. The ones who did survive used what we taught them, military techniques. Proven methods, not pretty techniques. Not philosophical concepts. Hard, simple, effective combatives. He looks directly at Bruce now. I respect what you do, Mr. Lee. I respect your skill. But don't confuse what looks good in a demonstration with what works when your life depends on it. These soldiers need to know the difference. They need to trust military training, not martial arts. Military training. He starts to step away from the microphone. The demonstration is over. The message delivered. Traditional military superiority reasserted. Bruce walks back to the microphone. His movement is unhurried. Calm. He does not take the microphone from Colonel Miller, just stands next to him, speaks into it. His voice is quiet, but carries clearly through the speakers. Colonel Miller, I appreciate your perspective. You have combat experience. You have trained soldiers. You know knower. I respect that. He pauses. Looks at the colonel directly. But you just told 1,000 soldiers that my methods won't work in combat. That military combatives are superior. Would you demonstrate that? Would you show these soldiers the difference? Show them why military training is more effective than what I just demonstrated. The training ground goes even more silent. If that is possible, 1,000 soldiers frozen. Colonel Miller's jaw tightens. He did not expect this. Did not expect Bruce to challenge him publicly, in front of his own men, on his own base. He looks at Bruce, sees no aggression, no mockery, just a simple question, a simple challenge. The colonel has 2 choices, decline and look weak, or accept and prove his point. He nods slowly. All right, I'll demonstrate. He hands the microphone to an aide standing nearby, walks to the center of the platform. Bruce follows. They stand facing each other, 6 feet apart. The visual contrast is stark. Colonel Miller in full dress uniform, 6 feet tall, military bearing. Bruce in simple black training clothes, 5'7", civilian. 1,000 soldiers watch, every eye on the platform. Colonel Miller speaks. Only Bruce can hear. No disrespect, Mr. Lee. But these men need to see reality, need to trust their training. Bruce nods. I understand. Show me your best technique, the one you would use in combat. Full speed, full intent. Treat me like an enemy. The colonel drops into a fighting stance. Not a traditional martial arts stance. A military combative stance. Feet wide, weight low. Hands up, but not in guard position. Ready to grab, to strike, to grapple. His face hardens. His eyes focus. This is not a demonstration anymore. This is a test. He moves forward. Fast. Aggressive. reaches for Bruce's collar with his left hand. Classic military technique. Get control. Pull opponent off balance. Strike or throw. Second one. Bruce's right hand intercepts the colonel's left wrist. Mid-reach. Light contact. Just enough to redirect the trajectory. The colonel's hand misses Bruce's collar by 3 inches. Second 3. The colonel pulls back his left hand. Shoots his right hand forward. Straight punch toward Bruce's face. Hard. Fast. Real intent. Bruce's left hand meets the colonel's right wrist. Same interception. Same minimal redirection. The punch slides past Bruce's head. Second 5. The colonel changes tactics. Drops his level. Shoots for Bruce's legs. Double leg takedown. Military wrestling. Get opponent to the ground. Control from top position. His arms reach for Bruce's thighs. Bruce's hands drop. Touch the colonel's shoulders. Light pressure. Downward and forward. The colonel's forward momentum is redirected. His shot fails. He finds himself off balance. Leaning too far forward. Second 8. Bruce steps to the colonel's outside. Offline from the center. The colonel tries to turn. To reset. To regain position. Second 10. Bruce's left hand is on the colonel's right shoulder. His right hand is near the colonel's neck. Not touching, just hovering. Positioned. The colonel tries to move. Cannot. His structure is compromised. His balance is controlled by pressure, so light he can barely feel it. Second 13. Bruce speaks quietly. If this were combat, Colonel, what would happen next? The colonel stands frozen. He knows. In combat, Bruce's hand on his neck could apply pressure, could affect his balance, could set up a sweep, a throw, a strike. He is completely vulnerable. Second 16. Bruce releases the colonel, steps back, returns to his original position, hands at his sides, breathing unchanged. Colonel Miller stands there. His dress uniform is slightly wrinkled. His face is red, not from exertion, from realization, from shock. He just used military combatives. Techniques he has trained soldiers with for a decade. Techniques proven in combat. Techniques he trusts completely. And Bruce neutralized all of them in 16 seconds, without breaking his calm, without striking back. Just controlling, just demonstrating. The training ground is silent. 1,000 soldiers staring, trying to process what they just witnessed, trying to reconcile the image of their colonel, a combat veteran, being controlled by a civilian martial artist, 55 pounds lighter. Bruce walks to the microphone, speaks to the formation. Colonel Miller is an excellent soldier. His techniques are military standard, proven in combat. What he showed you works, but it works within specific contexts, against specific opponents. Military combatives assume certain parameters, certain expectations. Bruce pauses. I did not defeat the colonel. I showed him something outside those parameters, something that does not fit military doctrine. That is not a weakness in military training. That is just recognition that no system is complete. No method covers everything. The colonel's experience is valuable. What I showed is also valuable. They can coexist. They can inform each other, but claiming one is absolutely superior closes the door to learning. Bruce looks at Colonel Miller. Thank you, Colonel, for demonstrating. You gave these soldiers a valuable lesson, not about winning or losing, about being willing to test your beliefs, about humility, about recognizing that confidence should not become certainty. The colonel stands motionless, processing. His worldview has just been shaken, not destroyed, just questioned. For the first time in 23 years of service, he wonders if military doctrine is enough. Bruce bows to the formation, steps down from the platform, walks across the training ground toward the exit. No one stops him. No one speaks. 1,000 soldiers watch him leave. Colonel Miller remains on the platform, staring at his own hands. Hands that just executed military techniques perfectly. Hands that hit nothing but air. After Bruce leaves, Colonel Miller dismisses the formation, orders them back to regular training. But word spreads through the barracks, through the mess hall, through the entire base. The demonstration, the challenge, the 16 seconds. By evening, every soldier at Fort Bragg knows the story. Some embellish it. Some question it. All of them remember it. 3 weeks later, Colonel Miller writes a letter to Bruce Lee. Formal, respectful. He thanks Bruce for the demonstration, acknowledges that it challenged his assumptions, asks if Bruce would return to Fort Bragg, not for a demonstration, for training, to teach principles to Special Forces instructors, to supplement military combatives with concepts from outside military doctrine. Bruce accepts. For the next 2 years, Bruce visits Fort Bragg 4 times, each time teaching small groups of elite soldiers, rangers, special forces, instructors who will carry these principles forward. He does not replace military training. He supplements it, adds layers, expands understanding. The soldiers who train with him bring his concepts into combat, into real situations. Some of them return, some do not. But the ones who return tell stories about intercepting attacks in close quarters combat, about controlling opponents without excessive force, about principles that worked when doctrine was not enough. Years later, after Bruce's death, Colonel Miller retires, writes his memoirs, includes a chapter about that day in March, about standing in front of 1,000 soldiers, about having his certainty questioned, about learning humility from a man 55 pounds lighter. He ends the chapter with this: Bruce Lee did not defeat me that day. He taught 15 seconds to realize that combat experience does not equal complete knowledge, that respect for proven methods should not become rigid doctrine, that the best warriors remain students, always learning, always questioning, always growing. The story becomes part of Fort Bragg history, repeated in training sessions, discussed in leadership courses, used as an example of humility, of adaptability, of recognizing that superiority in one context does not guarantee superiority in all contexts. 1,000 soldiers witnessed it, but millions have heard it, and the lesson remains, not about Bruce Lee winning, about everyone learning, about the difference between confidence and certainty, between doctrine and mastery, between what we know and what is possible.